Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to race day around one of the most picturesque settings on the Formula One calendar. We're here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, for round 17 of the Tier 1 season in WHF. We're going to go ahead and sort out all of our things on the side of the screen there so we can keep an eye on people. And we'll wait for our drivers to get out on the track. You can see already a few people picking the intermediates for the opening laps in qualifying. But our first man on track will be the Haas of Nutomatic there. So round 17, last time out it was the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which was won by Boss Cookie, confirming himself as the Season 1 Tier 1 champion. And now we go back to Europe, into the Styrian Mountains for round 17 and Austria. Will Cookie be able to claim yet another win and another pole position in what has been a Verstappen-esque season for the Red Bull driver, dominating from start to finish? We will wait and see. Hello everybody in the chat. Ultra Titan saying that there is no rain this weekend, so we're in for a dry session in Austria, this qualifying and race, as we're going to ride on board for the first lap of the session. It's going to be the pass of Nutomatic as he crosses the start-finish line. We'll see what sort of lap time he's able to set. Thank you, Zampa, for the 1 bit. Just riding on board with Nutomatic at the moment in the Haas, as he climbs up the hill into the big braking zone at turn 3, clipping that apex nicely and getting the power down early on exit. Opens the DRS, one of 3 DRS zones at this circuit. Provides plenty of opportunities for overtaking for our drivers. And I'm sure we'll be seeing lots of battles around this track in the race later on tonight, as is custom with Austria on the F1 games. Running a little bit far away from the apex here in Nutomatic, but it is his first lap of the session. It will be his banker lap early on. And just 2 corners to go for the Haas, and we'll see what our first time lap will be on the board. Our final currently comes up to the start finish line, and Nutomatic sets a 1 minute 5.7. There is our banker lap. Man, that will be trying to beat that. It's going to be one of the Alpines. It'll be a Williams and an Alpine. Ritzy goes P2 with a 106.7 on his first lap of the session. So slightly slower. Just sort a couple of settings in the stream for you. And there we go. Hopefully that's better for you. Next man across the line we've just seen will be a Williams, I believe. I think it's feta cheese. Indeed it is, but he had invalidated his time. He's got Ritzy right behind him still. I don't know whether he's actually on a hot lap or not. And We'll ride on board next up. We'll go around with the Aston Martin of Michael Louis. Currently sitting in 16th place, yet to set a lap time. You see him climbing up the hill into the heavy braking zone of the right-hander at turn 3. Goes a little bit deep, just missing that apex slightly, but gets the power down nicely, setting a allegedly purple sector 1, but we know what the F1 game is like for saying you've got purple sectors when in fact you hadn't. But, Michael Louis keeping it nice and steady on this first time lap for him. He is the only Aston Martin in this session. His teammate Payouts King's not attending this round. We've got 18 drivers, so only 2 people missing today. Michael Louis sends it through the fast right-hander there of turn 9, then the second one at turn 10, out the final corner, DRS open, up to the line, goes P7 with 105.6. Quite a bit of a spread in that midfield there. You can see the gap between Arrow in 6th and Michael Louis in 7th, over half a second there, so big space for drivers to get themselves into as Luxury crosses the line on his lap and sets a 104.2, going clear at the top by 0.2 of a second. Luxury has scored two pole positions this season, back in rounds 7 and 8 at Singapore and Canada, but he has not got one since, and hasn't actually been on the front row since round 12, so we're hoping for a strong qualifying here for the Williams man, who is currently sat P2 in the driver's standings. Let's see who else is on a lap at the moment. I think Ritzy's doing something. Ritzy and Feta Cheese, I think, are battling during qualifying, so I think we'll leave them two to it. Instead, we'll go and ride on board with Mallard, who's about to start his first time lap of the session. His teammate Arrow currently sat in P7 with a 105 dead. Let's see what Mallard can do through turn 1. Sends it nicely, using all the track on the exit, and now for this long, winding straight, the little kink left-hander at turn 2 as you rise up the hill into the braking zone, hitting that apex nicely there. Losing the rear end a little bit as he tried to put the power down perhaps a little bit too quickly, grabbing a sneaky bit of slipstream as he goes down the straight. DRS wide open as he comes into the heavy braking zone of turn 4. Slight downhill corner there, that can allow the car to run away from you on exit if you put the power down too soon. Avoiding the inside apex slightly through turn 5. He definitely gained a little bit of time there by going a bit closer, but runs it nicely there through 7 and 8, using all the track available to him. As he comes up towards the final couple of corners, the 2 fast right-handers that finish off this lap, drops down the hill, out of the final corner, DRS open, comes up to the line, and Mallard sets a 104.9, very close to his teammate's time there, goes P7. And you can see now, after that gap earlier, that was half a second between Arrow and Michael Louis, there's now just a 1/10 of a second between P6 Ultra Titan and P10 Arrow. That midfield group super close to each other as always in this league. As you see, Godzilla has improved his time up to P6 on a 104.8. Strong showing so far from the Haas driver, who finds himself 20th in the standings at the moment, but in a big pack of cars, 34 points, and a strong result here, a mid-pack finish could elevate him a number of positions as we come into the closing rounds of this first season. Next up to the line is going to be Arrow. Can he improve on P10? He can. P4 for the Ferrari. Good lap there, 104.5, gaining half a second on his previous attempt. As we see, Ritzy has left the session. I'll just shoot him an invite back. There we go. But yes, very strong lap there by the Ferrari of Arrow, in a tight battle with his teammate at the moment, as well as Billy and Penguin for P6 in the drivers' standings. Billy and Penguin currently leading Arrow by 6 points heading into this round. And he is one of the drivers who is missing for this race, Billy and Penguin, so it's a big opportunity here for both Ferrari drivers to gain some ground on Billy, and as I say, he is 6 points ahead of Arrow, who is a further 22 points ahead of his teammate. So a big weekend to come from the two Ferraris. Currently on the lap, Ollie sat in P7. We'll watch him for the rest of his lap and see if there's going to be any improvement from the Mercedes. His teammate JG currently P3 in this qualifying session, also P3 in the Drivers' Championship, 245 points, 35 ahead of his teammate. Got a strong podium though last time out. Ollie got a P2 at Las Vegas, and he'll be hoping to continue his good form with a strong result here at Spielberg, but he's going to back out of this lap time and pull into the pits. It just wasn't on the pace, as Luxury improves yet again out at the front. A 103.9 for the Williams. That gets himself further clear at the front, but B-Dunk is hot on his heels at the moment, about a tenth and a half behind him. It's a really close fight between these two for provisional pole as it stands. Just over 6 minutes left on the clock here. And we'll see who our next man is. Sink is just starting a lap. As is Dubsy behind him, I believe, looking at the mini-map there. But we'll ride on board with the Alfa Romeo for the time being. You can see big improvement on his first lap there in the first sector, over half a second quicker than his first attempt. That currently sees him sitting in P16 with a 108.1. Definitely room for improvement here for the Alfa Romeo. We'll see what he's capable for the rest of the lap. He's got a car behind him as well, who I believe is one of the Alpines. I'm not quite sure which one from here, but continue riding on board with Sink. It's been a good, strong lap so far from the man currently down in P16 as he comes through the final corner using all of the track available to him. Brilliantly done there. Opens the DRS, ups the line, and goes P3. Fantastic lap time by the Alfa Romeo. Big improvement there. A 104.2 puts him right in contention. He should have enough time to get back to the pits and go for one more run here. Behind him as well, crossing the line, Dubsy went P12 with his first lap time of the session, a 104.9. Elsewhere on the track, Halo, I think, has just completed a lap time. He's currently in P9. He's just starting his lap time, should I say. Just dropped down to P10 as Feta Cheese goes across the line. It's a Williams 1-2 at the moment, a 104 dead for Feta, just under a tenth off his teammate. Fantastic running by the Williams drivers, sort of emulating the form that the two Williams drivers of Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas showed around this track back in 2014, where they grabbed a 1-2 for the team in qualifying. I'm sure Luxury and Feta will be wanting to replicate that here today. Currently in the constructors' standings, Williams are third, and they seem a pretty stable third place. They're about 30 points ahead of Alfa Romeo in fourth place, but quite a long way off the Mercedes. In fact, it's a big fight at the moment between Mercedes and Red Bull in the constructors, as you see Feta there running wide. But I believe this is just going to be his in-lap anyway. He's going to pull into the pits, but yeah, the big battle at the moment is certainly in the constructors' standings between Red Bull on 473 points and Mercedes on 455. They are the ones to watch this weekend, and so far it's safe to say the Mercedes are definitely outperforming the Red Bulls. Currently sitting P6 and P9 on the grid compared to P10 and 18 the Red Bulls, but we do believe Cookie is challenging himself and starting from the back of the grid for this race. You also see we have gained an extra driver during this session. Cloud, P19 at the moment, yet to set a lap time. He'll go out for one flying run. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. So, 2.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, and we're going to ride on board with Bubbo, currently sat in P5 as he starts his flying lap and final lap of this session into turn 1, going big on the power, getting as much track use as possible as he looks to climb up the hill. Cloud deciding not to run a lap time in this session. He's going to start from the back of the grid. You can see here though, Bubbo marginally up in sector 1, goes a little bit deep, trying to avoid the traffic there as he starts sector 2. DRS open for the third time on this lap between turns 3 and 4 as he goes down the hill into the braking zone, hard on the brakes, gets the car turned in, uses all the track on the exit, gets it back to the right hand side now for the left hander at 6. Crucial to get the car as close to that inside curve as he possibly can, and he does well, using all the track yet again on the exit. Now the flick through 7, use all the track and all the curve through 8, and then climb this little crest of a hill towards the right hander at 9. Fling it through there, use all the track on the exit, down hard into the final corner braking zone. Uses too much of the track though, and Bubbo invalidates at the final corner. It wasn't going to improve his lap time though, and he will remain in P5 here with just over a minute left of this session. And unfortunately, I don't think he'll be getting another lap time in here today, but now we're looking at all these drivers. We have plenty of them going around the track at the moment. The first one who will be completing a new lap is going to be Sink, I believe, so we'll look at how he gets on for the rest of his lap. And you can see a lot of dirt there on that Alfa Romeo, interestingly, from that camera angle. So I don't know if Sink's had maybe a trip into the grass at some point during this session, but we're watching him at the moment from the off-board cameras. As you see Cookie there, he's not starting from the back of the grid. He sets a 1 minute 3.4 that puts him on provisional pole by half a second. Cookie is back. He knows what it means in this Constructors title and how close it is with Mercedes. And he's looking for yet another pole this season. It will be pole number 14 if he is to do it, but we're riding on board with Sink as he crosses the final corner up to the line, goes P2, a 1 minute 3.9, half a tenth of a second quicker than Luxury there, as Cookie gets disqualified for going the wrong way and will now start on the back of the grid. After all that we've just said about him starting at the front, Cookie goes to the back. And Sink now on provisional pole. If you look at everyone else crossing the line, Halo doesn't improve, stays P9. Behind him, we've just seen Dubsy cross the line, go P12, drops down to P13 though, as Mallard improves to P9 with a 104.43. I believe that's Ritzy. Yeah, Ritzy is invalid at the moment, but he's seeing what sort of time he could have set. We'll see what he could have improved to as he crosses the line. It would have been a 103.6. That would have been good enough for pole position had he not invalidated at some point on his lap, gutting for Ritzy. Instead of being on pole position, he starts down in P16. But for now at least, it's going to be, in fact it is, because Sink is not going to improve. So it's going to be Feta Cheese grabbing his first pole position in Tier 1 around Austria with 103.7. And he'll be joined on the front row by Sink of the Alfa Romeo, who out-qualifies Luxury by half a tenth. Yet again, Luxury just not quite able to get on that front row. but a very strong qualifying nonetheless for the Williams as we wait for the drivers to just round out their qualifying. See Ultra Titan actually there with a 5-place grid penalty. Interestingly, did not see that come up during the session. Let's see what he actually got that for. Illegal blocking for the Alfa Romeo. So that really is going to cost Ultra Titan there. It's going to drop him all the way back to P12 for the start of this race. Just seeing on the team radio, Cookie said they ran so wide off the track and it didn't invalidate his lap. And that's why he disqualified himself. So some really good sportsmanship there from the Red Bull driver of Cookie. And now we wait for the drivers to set their strategies. But while we do that... Oh, we have a restart apparently. So we will do that in the meantime. Zampa redeeming the race prediction of AIDS. I might have to agree with you there. Automatic predicting himself to be last. I won't go that far, I'm not. He showed strong pace in that quali. Alrighty, just waiting on everyone to be set. I'm ready in the lobby. I'm not honestly sure, Craig, why there was a restart. I think it might have been to do with a penalty in game or something. I'm not too sure. That or there was a ready up early. I'm hearing that Ultra Titan's penalty has been removed. So that might have been the reason for the restart. I'm not too sure. But we're getting ready to load into the session again here. And then we'll be going racing again at Austria. Or not. It gets cancelled at the last second. And here we go. I think this time we're loading in. So if anyone's got any race predictions in the chat, 14 people here at the moment. If you've got any race predictions for us, drop them in the live stream chat. And if anyone here is watching that is driving, don't forget your setups as well. This has obviously been a new lobby. Need to load your race setups again. Absolutely not automatic. Pain happened. As often does on F1 games, pain happened. So as we wait for the lights, let's head through your grid for the Austrian Grand Prix, round 17 of the Tier 1 season. On pole, it's a date... Jesus, words. On pole, it is Feta Cheese in the Williams securing his first pole position in Tier 1 with Snowy's alongside him in the Alfa Romeo. Row 2, Luxury is joined by the lead Mercedes of JG with Bidunk and Budbo lining up on row 3. Ultra Titan does not receive his grid penalty. He starts from P7 with Ollie, the second Mercedes, in P8. Then comes the lead Ferrari of Mallard in P9 with Godzilla rounding out the top 10 in his Haas. Halo starts from 11th with Arrow in 12th. Michael Louis 13th, Dubsy 14th. In 15th, it'll be Craig Conley, with Ritzy 16th, despite setting a lap that was invalidated that would have been good enough for pole for the Alpine Reserve. Notomatic in 17th, and then not setting a lap time, Cloud starts 18th, with Cookie from the back of the grid. RPL in the chat saying, let's go Cookie, represent RPL. Well, he's going to have his work cut out from P19, but we know what Cookie's like. This season he has had a Verstappen level of domination, winning almost every race. He's already cleared up the title, leads by over 100 points. If anyone could win from the back of the grid, it is Cookie. Now we just wait for last little part as we wait for the lights. And then we will go racing at Austria. It's going to be a dry race. The Styrian Mountains providing us with not only picturesque setting but also some lovely weather for the drivers today. And this race should be getting underway at any second. Here we go as we wait for the lights. And we go racing in Austria. It's a good start from Feta Cheese, who gets away well and holds the lead as they climb the little hill into turn 1. And he gets clear at the front, running wide in the background there. You can see Luxury dropping down a few positions as he was pushed out wide. They're going side by side with people through turn 1, but as they all climb the hill, there's a big crash in the background. I believe that Snowy's out of the session there. Or out of the race, not quite, but he had a big spin in the background. Big damage to that Alfa Romeo, and he has dropped all the way to the back after starting up in P2. A horrible start for him towards the front. We've also got a spin there for Feta Cheese by the looks of it. Further back, as we're looking at the spun Alfa Romeo, our race leader has also spun, which has promoted JG to the front. As you see, Luxury running wide in the background, drops himself down into P4. Drama on this opening lap around Spielberg, as our front row of drivers have both dropped to the back of the grid. Virtual safety car is out. And let's see the big winners from that. Cookie, well, we said earlier, about it. Could Cookie win it from the back? He's already up to P9. He comes into the pits here. We'll see what tyres people are going on to. Cheese picking up a 5-second grid penalty there. 5-second penalty for some contact behind VSC. Snowy's not coming into the pits, so he's managed to survive without much damage, but you can see there, scrolling through the pit lane, a lot of people getting front wing changes under this virtual safety car. Drama on that first lap. And yeah, it looked like Snowy and Feta colliders as we go racing again. It's a good launch after the VSC by B-Dunk. He's right on the tail of JG here, fighting for the lead of the race. Yeah, Alpine has showed strong pace all weekend long, and he'll be looking to try and make it count at the front of the pack. You can see behind him, Bubbo on a set of medium tyres is really going to be pushing early on as well, and he's got a big gap behind him to Ultra Titan in P4, who's perhaps dropped off a little bit after the end of that VSC. Behind them also the Ferraris in that special Vegas livery pushing hard, both on mediums with multiple hard tyre runners ahead of them. And Arrow really making up some ground early on in this race. Got himself up into P7 already. And this is where our focus is going to be at the moment. His teammate Mallard going side by side, or trying to go side by side with them as they rise up the hill. They're going too wide. Make that 3 wide. Mallard has completely missed the braking zone there. He's very lucky not to have taken anyone out in that one. And that costs him massively, down to P14. Not sure what the Ferrari was doing now. I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards see that one as there's contact. Luxury dives it too hard and tags the back of Arrow, and that drops him all the way down to P14. You can see that coming, and Marloff missed the braking point into the hairpin at turn 4, and Luxury and Feta Cheese, after such promising qualifying, they were P1 and P3 on the grid. They're down to 14th and 17th here on lap 3. And that's a horrible start for the Williams. Back out at the front though, it's a 3-man scrap for the lead of the race, as the DRS will be enabled this time around, I believe. And indeed it is there. You can see it on the telemetry, which we'll get rid of. Don't want that up on the screen for people, but B-Dunk with the DRS pulls out the slipstream, and it's going to be a simple overtake as he climbs up the hill. Luxury calling it a day in the pit lane. He backs out there, and that is one Williams out of this race. But B-Dunk taking the lead from JG, who's got under pressure here from Bubbo as they go down the hill in towards turn 4. Bubbo making a lunging move up the inside, and it's brilliantly done late on the brakes. Makes the move stick, and the Alpha Tauri is up into 2nd place. Behind them, there's a big scrap going on behind Arrow as well. You can see there a train of cars as we look over his rear wing mirror. One of those being the lead Red Bull of Halo in P8. Michael Louis in the Aston Martin in 7th place at the moment, chasing down the Ferrari of Arrow, who runs a little bit wide there through both of the right-handers to end the lap. This could present a good opportunity for the Aston Martin. He's got the DRS open, and he goes to out of the slipstream and makes a move into turn 1. Of a simple move there, promoting Michael Louis in the Aston Martin up into 6th place. Look at the train of cars though that he has behind him. We've got Halo thinking of making the move on Arrow as they climb up the hill. He sends it up the inside. They go side by side. Gets a squeeze from Arrow, making a little bit of contact between the left front and the side pod of the Ferrari, but Halo makes the move stick well, and he's up into 7th place here. We look behind them there, Cloud thinking of a move up the inside of Arrow as well. Arrow dropping like a stone in this last couple of laps here, and Cloud makes the move up into 8th place. The Alpha Tauri's really making good progress here, with Bubbo still in P2 and right on the tail of B-Dunk out, fighting for the lead of this race. See them throw it through the the right-hander there at turn 9 as they drop down the hill into the final corner. And Bubbo all over the back of B-Dunk here, and I won't be surprised if we see a potential overtake for the lead heading up the hill into turn 3. Is all over the back of that Alpine car. We'll watch on board with JG, who gets a perfect view of behind of these two going for the move. Bubbo pulls out of the slipstream with the DRS, pulls back across before the braking zone and gets that move done. The AlphaTauri up into the lead and making some real good progress here actually. He's up 5 places since the start of the race, but our big mover so far is Cloud down in P7. He's made the move there on Halo to get himself up into P6. So really good movement here from the AlphaTauri drivers, really making some strong progress and a really strong weekend so far for the team. In the back, we've got battles all over at the moment in this midfield pack. We'll ride on board with the Ferrari of Arrows in P9 all over the rear of SSR Halo in the Red Bull. We've also got further back a massive scrap going on at the moment between Feta Cheese, Snowy and Ritzy over 14th place, going side by side through the double left-hander, almost making contact, but brilliantly done there by Feta Cheese round the outside of Snowy, making those mediums count and up into 15th place, and he'll chase after Ritzy there up ahead of me. That's a little wiggle there, but makes the move stick. Back out at the front, we've got Ultra Titan losing a position to Ollie. These two doing battle with each other as they go down the DRS straight, side by side, coming down into the turn 4 hairpin. Ultra Titan makes that move stick and gets himself up into P4. Nutomatic retiring in the pit lane. He's out from P18. Also hearing on the team radio that Luxury forgot his setup. That is why he retired from this race. He was just not feeling the balance of the car without his Austria setup, and he called it a day early on. Back out at the front, we'll look at this freeway fight again. JG at the back of this. We've seen B-Dunk has got back up into the lead of this race now. But Bubbo all over the back of him yet again, and he'll get DRS heading up this hill once more. Dubsy is out of the race. I believe that's another retirement in the pit lane. So thankfully no safety car for that one, as we saw the Haas of the retired Nutomatic pulling over there as we're riding on board. But these three really hotly contesting this battle for the lead at the moment. As we look on board at the moment, Bubbo going up the inside of the Alpine, and JG thinking of trying to follow him through, just not quite able to do it, has to back out of it, but Bubbo makes the move stick. He's back into the lead of this race, and the AlphaTauri and the Alpine drivers here just jostling back and forth lap by lap, and it won't be helping their tyres, I'm sure, but for now at least they're not losing time to the cars behind them, because there's a 3-second gap behind from JG to Ultra Titan here in 4th place. Go back on board with this battle for the lead here, and you can see B-Dunk thinking of making a move. We'll watch on board with JG, who's had a perfect viewpoint of this battle all race long so far. B-Dunk will open the DRS as they head up towards turn 3. Bubbo trying to break the toe by weaving as he goes up the straight. They go side by side up the hill into turn 3. Bubbo late, B-Dunk late on the brakes, forces Bubbo wide, gets the move done, and the Alpine driver back up into the lead of this race. Further back, we've got a battle ongoing between Arrow and Craig Conley. Arrow making the move stick, getting himself up into P8. And the McLaren under pressure from behind, with Michael Louis thinking of making the move up the inside. You can see that move being done. And they're still marginally side by side. Craig Conley not giving up this position easily, but eventually he has to back out of it. And Michael Louis gets himself up into 9th place. Further ahead, Cloud has got himself on the back of this battle for 4th. He's all over the rear of the Mercedes of Ollie at the moment. Braking slightly early to make sure he doesn't run into the back of the Mercedes, but getting the power down nicely out of the final corner. Pulls out of the toe. He doesn't want to be making this move into turn 1, he's decided. And he hits the brakes late, uses all of the track, and gets the power down nice and early. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the move here. You can see him using the overtake there on the steering wheel. Goes up the inside, which turns to the outside for this corner. He's still alongside though, you can see him there, Ollie. Still alongside, but Cloud has the better track. He's able to get the traction down, his foot down earlier, has the traction. Virtual safety car out at the moment. I don't believe that's for a retirement, so I'll be for debris on track. And Cloud, luckily for him, had just got up into P5 there. and have made the move stick because of the virtual safety car being called out. This gives us a good chance just to take stock of this race so far and have a little bit of a breath out at the front at the moment. The Alpine, of B-Dunk leading the way. We'll have a look at everyone's positional gains. So up 4 for B-Dunk, up 4 for Budbo. He is in P2 for the AlphaTauri at the moment. Then it's the lead Mercedes of JG. He's third in the championship. He's third in the race tonight as the VSC ends their DRS re-enabled, and at the perfect time for B-Dunk, he's able to get the power down nicely there, and he may even look to try and hold on to this position going up the hill, and I believe he's going to be able to do so. He does, so perfect timing for the VSC to end there. Further back, Cloud all over the back of the Alfa Romeo of Ultra Titan. He's thinking about making a move down this straight. Potentially we might have a battle for the leaders. Bubbo sends it down the inside. Beautifully done late on the brakes yet again from the AlphaTauri. Gets himself back up into first place. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. I believe that's Arrow, who might have spun it on the exit of turn 3, but he's got it going again. So that's yellow flag cleared up quite quickly, but these two at the front, Budbo and B-Dunk, just jostling for position lap after lap, swapping places every other DRS straight, with JG just watching on from behind. But look further back, who is in 7th place? It is Cookie, up 12 places here. He's not the biggest mover on the grid. Cloud is up 14, but Cookie on those medium tyres that are 10 laps old, making some real progress here, and he's already up into P7, but he is quite some distance off of our leader at the moment. He is a whole 9 seconds behind the lead group. We watch back at the front. There's been another change for position. It seems every time we turn away to look at another battle, these two swap positions yet again. B-Dunk back in the lead of the race, as we are on lap 12 at the moment. So it's now coming to the point where we start questioning, when do people start pitting in this one? 36 laps of this race. We're about a third of the way through. Those medium tyres will start going off sooner rather than later. You see Budbo go massively wide there, gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, and you can tell those medium tyres starting to struggle, I reckon, on the AlphaTauri, and he's really having to push a lot harder to stay with B-Dunk this time around. JG just waiting in the wings for his opportunity. We have seen a couple of other penalties on the board at the moment. Mallard and Fetter both with one to their name, I believe. Well, there's a couple for Mallard, a couple of 5-second ones there. As we see, they're going side by side again. Budbo going to make an easy overtake as he heads down the hill into turn 4, and he gets himself back up into the lead. I think it was just a bit of a dodgy exit from the Alpine in the lead of this race. And the lead changes once again. It's been all action so far at the Austrian Grand Prix here in the Styrian Mountains. And we'll ride on board with B-Dunk as he looks to size up yet another overtake for the lead in this race. It's been going back and forth all race long, and I have a feeling it's going to continue to do the same for the rest of it, as B-Dunk backing out early, doesn't want to make the move into turn 1. It's not the best place to make that overtake. Instead, he wants to be making it this time around as they rise up the hill into turn 3. It's going to be the same overtake we've seen these two make on each other multiple times now, and as they rise up the crest into turn 3, it's B-Dunk back in the lead of the race. Little bit of contact there, which has allowed JG to get through. I believe Budbo might just slightly run into the back of the AlphaTauri there, and you see JG is now making a move for the lead. We said he was biding his time before thinking about making a move, and he went for it there but wasn't quite able to pull it off. He has to settle for a second place for the time being as they head through turn 6. Budbo picking up another 3-second time penalty here as B-Dunk makes a massive error on exit there, loses the rear end, has to correct it, does well not to spin off into the gravel, but there goes JG through and up into the lead of this race. For the first time, we have a different leader between between Bredunk and Bubbo, and JG in the Mercedes taking the lead here as we start lap 15. And look further behind them, look who's now on the tail. The second AlphaTauri Cloud is within the DRS of Bubbo ahead of him. So you see the yellow flag in sector 2, that's Godzilla, who's gone off the track. But we now have a 6-man fight for the lead of this race as we look forward here. Bredunk thinking about making a move up the inside of JG as they head down into turn 4. JG backs out early, thinking of maybe doing the switchback on him, but has to settle to slot in behind the Alpine and hold on to P2 for the time being. But this group all coming together, and note as well, look at the timings. Cookie is only a second and a half off the back of Ollie. He's about to make this battle a 7-way fight for the lead of the race. Godzilla calling it a day. That's a double DNF for Haas. And he's retired in the pits as we see Bubbo really starting to struggle on this medium set of tyres in 3rd place. But a ridiculous train of cars here. You can see the entire top 7 has DRS on each other. Just watch this from an off-board POV. Look how close those cars are to each other as we rise up the hill. We're focusing on Bubbo at the moment as we see JG go for the move up the inside. There's a little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel banging, and through goes Bubbo into 2nd place. Make that 1st place as Bredunk gets squeezed out into on the exit, and Bubbo back up into the lead of the race. Look at the chaos behind him over his rear wing. A bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Alpine there in the background as they jostle for 2nd place. Ultra Titan's making a move for 3rd. He's up the inside, going through turn 6, and he makes the move stick there. And you can see from the aerial point of view just how close these cars are to each other. Cookie has made his way past Ollie. He's up into P6 now as well. So the Red Bull of Cookie at the Red Bull Ring, looking for yet another win this season. It will be win number 11 if he was to claim it, coming from the back of the grid. He's up into 4th place. Look at them all going side by side and going near each other, so close to each other through turn 1. Right on board with Cookie. He's thinking of making a move for P3 here, going up the inside of JG, but he's going to get blocked off a little bit by Ultra Titan being there, and he does touch him. He breaks too late into the corner, taps the rear end of Ultra Titan, and he's lucky that Titan didn't spin round there, but Cookie, yeah, making a bit of contact with the rear end. And he keeps P4 for the time being. Titan try to get through on JG, gives him a bit of a squeeze on the exit, and that allows Cookie to get through up into P3. JG dropping down into 4th place, so Bredunk still in the lead of this race, but just look at the pace advantage that Cookie has as we ride on board with his front wing there. What a camera angle that is to see just how close he's getting to the rear of that Alfa Romeo. And well, this battle raging on as you see there. JG and Cloud jostling over 4th place as we look over the rear wing. Yeah, worth noting as well, Bubbo did pit at the end of the previous lap. He's come out in P10 on a set of hard tyres at the moment, and he's about to make up a load of positions as well as everyone else around him comes into the pits. You see him there on the timing screen on your left hand side, up into 7th place with a load of clean air to push those new tyres. And we'll see how effective his undercut is as this race goes on, particularly with these guys battling so hard. Cookie dives one way and then the other, gets squeezed to the inside by Bredunk. Some really tough defensive driving as Bubbo has lagged out of the session. We'll try and get him back in if we can. I don't think I'm able to, unfortunately. I don't think I have Bubbo. Riding on board with Cookie for the time being. He's about to make the move for the lead of the race. There he goes up the inside of B-Dunk as they climb the hill. Cookie, he is inevitable and he is back in the lead of a race once more. He won last time out at Las Vegas. He's won 10 other races in the 16 rounds previous to this one. And he's back in the lead here and stretching his wings at the front of the field. And behind him, well, you can see the chaos that is following. Ultra Titan currently looking to try and make a move on JG to get that final spot on the podium. Still, unfortunately, unable to get Bubbo in the session, as we see JG and Cloud coming into the pit lane. They've done 18 laps on their hard tyres. There you go, pit here at the start of lap 20 and strap on a fresh set of mediums. And what will be interesting to see here as we go right on board with Bubbo, just see where those two drivers come out of the pit lane. He's already passed JG and he's passed Cloud as well. You saw him just over the wall behind him. And you can see him there in the background. So Bubbo's undercut has worked, but they have the better tyre compound. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they catch up to Bubbo as this race goes on. 16 laps to go, a long way left in this race. 14 drivers still to go, still driving around as well. And I believe Bubbo is back in the session, thankfully, as you see Ritzy send it down his inside there on 18 lap old mediums against the 3 lap old hards. Ritzy full of confidence, it seems, and it's definitely not helping out Bubbo because behind him within a second is his teammate Cloud, and he is catching further forward Ollie into the pit lane. Mercedes crew are going to strap on a set of medium tyres onto his car, and it's a decent stop there from the Merc. And we'll see whereabouts he comes out. You'll see in a second if you look to the left-hand side of your screen. There are there is the battle at the moment as we join on board. Ritzy and Bubbo making contact. They both go round. Perfect view from Clouds on board. He's up into P4. But Ritzy and Bubbo making contact into turn 1. They tried to go too wide. It just didn't work. And that has dropped them both down the order, down to P7 and P8 now. And there's a lot of work for these two to do. I would not be surprised whatsoever if the stewards are going to be looking into that one after the race today. Yes, big drama between those two. They were fighting for what would have been the lower reaches of the podium places had they not made that contact, and that has really dropped them back now. As you can see, B-Dunk into the pits on his 20 lap old hards. It's worth noting as well, Cookie is still going on a set of 20 lap old mediums. He pit on that first lap, I believe potentially to change his nose cone, and he's come out and done 20 laps since then on those tyres. Ritzy, I think, was thinking at one point of going into the pit lane. He took an interesting line through the final corner, but stays out. Bubbo thinking of making the move again, but this time opting to wait until after turn 1. They've learnt the lesson from last time around where they made contact, and instead Bubbo will make the nice simple overtake as they rise up the hill. Gets very aggressive how he pulls across there. You can tell there's a lot of frustration in that AlphaTauri, but he makes the move stick back up into P7, and now he'll try and close the 4.5 second gap to the two Mercedes ahead of him. Further forward, you can see Cloud has made the move stick on B-Dunk. He's up into 3rd place, with the top two still yet to pit. Cookie and Ultra Titan still going around on the same set of tyres. In fact, Ultra Titan is yet to pit entirely in this race. He's the only driver yet to make a pit stop whatsoever. And we'll have a quick look at the penalties as we see Bubbo getting another 3-second time penalty. He's on 9 seconds altogether for this race. B-Dunk also has 3 seconds. And then there's some penalties for the guys at the lower reaches of the order. As you see, Ritzy has come into the pit lane. He's going to get off his 21 lap old mediums. He puts on a fresh set of soft tyres, so keep an eye on his progress as this stint goes on. He's going to have a big gap to close up to the cars ahead of him, but on soft tyres I'm sure he will make inroads on that gap very quickly. See here, Michael Lewis going side by side with Halo as they go through the sweeping left-hander off turn 6. Michael Lewis making that move stick around the outside. Fantastic job by the Aston Martin. He's up into P8. Halo behind him now has Craig Conley in the McLaren and Mallard in the lead Ferrari. We are currently riding on board with at the end of lap 23. They go across the line to start lap 24. Craig going a little bit wide on the final corner there. So he does get away with it. You may see on the timing screen there on the top left as well. Bidon has got past Cloud. He's up into P2, but he does have that time penalty that Cloud does not have. So all he needs to do, the AlphaTauri, is just stay with him and he will be able to get back past him overall. Cookie has finally pitted as well. He's back out on a fresh set of soft tyres and is in 4th place, just 2 seconds behind. So watch that gap close very, very quickly for the Red Bull driver. We know how quick Cookie is, and on a fresh set of softs he is going to be even faster in comparison to those around him. But we're still riding on board at the moment, watching this battle over 8th place. Three drivers very close to one another at the moment. And Ultra Titan finally making his pit stop. He also puts on a set of soft tyres, and he'll drop down the order a little bit, but he'll be able to push like mad for the final stint of this race. We'll now go and ride on board with Cloud, who is all over the rear end of Bidon. You see the red light flashing on the Alpine driver. That means he's very low on his battery at the moment, and you can vaguely see from the steering wheel of Cloud he's got about half of his available to him. So advantage certainly with the AlphaTauri at the moment, but look on the off-board camera, there's a Red Bull and it's Cookie directly behind him at the moment. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. I believe that was Ritzy who may have spun it down in P13, but he's got going again. Fettuccine has now got past him, in fact, to pull himself up into P13. But here comes Cookie going side by side into turn 9. That's an unconventional place to make an overtake, but he makes it stick. Gets himself up into P2, and the Red Bull driver now has his sights very firmly set on that man in the lead at the moment, Bidon. Will he think about the move into turn 1? No, he stays behind for the time being, but it's all about the exit here. As Bubbo's lagged out again, you see Cookie has set the fastest lap and at the same time has made that move for the lead of the race. We'll watch behind as Cloud is thinking of following him through here on the Alpine, and he does so. Brilliant driving there by Cloud, playing it very tactically and getting the move done at the same time as Cookie, getting himself up into P2. But well, this might be the last we see of Cookie until the final lap, because I fully expect the Red Bull driver and the reigning champion of Tier 1 to just sprint away at the front here on those soft tyres, and unless he makes a mistake, it's unlikely we'll see much of him for the rest of this race as he sets a purple sector 2. I won't be surprised either if we see another fastest lap here at the end of this lap. But for now, the battle we need to be watching is this one over P4. It is Mercedes versus Mercedes. Both of them will be wanting points to add to their tally here today as they fight with each other for third in the drivers' standings. 35 points between them at the moment, with 2 more rounds to go after tonight. It is all to play for these two, but also all to play for is the constructors' standings. With Cookie now in the lead, these two need to maximise their points haul as a team if they want to try and catch Red Bull by the end of this season. JG right up behind his teammate at the moment. He has the DRS wide open. Is he thinking about the move down into turn 4? He's going to send it late on the brakes. He makes the move up the inside, makes it stick, and keeps all 4 wheels on the track. And JG gets himself up into 4th place. And I wouldn't be I wouldn't half be surprised if this is a battle that continues going for the rest of this race. Elsewhere, there's a big battle as well, as we see contact with Michael Louis tapping the rear end of Mallard. He sent him into a spin. We caught the rear end of that accident there. And Michael Louis dropping a position to Halo, but the big loser there is Mallard. He's down into P11 now after that contact. And I think that's yet another incident that the stewards will be having a look at after the race. We only caught the rear end of it, as it seems Budbo is calling it a day, according to his team radio. He's saying it's shocking how he keeps on just disconnecting all the time. A tough break for you, absolutely, Bud. You're having a strong race, but unfortunately just one bit of contact and a couple disconnects, and he's down in P10. But we're riding on board still at the moment. Michael Louis thinking of making the move, going up the hill on Halo. His red light is flashing. He is low on battery. So is the Aston Martin. And we'll wait and see. Oh, big snap of oversteer on the exit there. That's just killed any chance he's got to make the move stick on this straight. That's for certain. As we see a big battle going on here. And I think more contact. Yes, more contact for sure there. As you see Ritzy just letting off the throttle and letting Arrow back through in the background. So I believe Ritzy may have tagged the Ferrari of Arrow there. The Ferraris have certainly been in the wars in this race, as we see Ritzy diving it back down the inside yet again on the Ferrari. But yeah, Ritzy just realising he was at fault for the last contact and letting Arrow back through before then swiftly taking the position, as Arrow has massive oversteer there going through turn 7 and just keeps it from going all four wheels in the gravel. But that Ferrari is definitely struggling at the moment, down in P14. Back at the front, Cloud fighting at the moment, as we actually go back to the Mercedes, as I saw on the timing sheets there. JG making the move back on Ollie. He's got himself back up into 4th. We didn't see Ollie get back through, but evidently he did. And these Mercedes keep on jockeying for position as this race goes on. And really, this is their only race at the moment. JG nearly 7 seconds behind Cloud, who is the last man on the podium. And they're 8 seconds ahead of Ultra Titan in 6th place. So it is just a straight fight between the Mercedes between now and the end of the race. Ollie has 1 lap fresher tyres. And riding on board with them to try and gauge a look at the battery, you can't really see it from the angle of either of them. So we are clueless as to who has that advantage. But one thing is for certain, these two are going hammer and tongue at each other for the remainder of this race. Bubbo just saying as well, it's been a good race for him. He had some wing damage when he came back from one of the disconnects, but it was a good race at the start, and that is absolutely true. So we've seen some fantastic battling here in the Styrian Mountains at the Red Bull Ring, and we have not seen the end of it yet. We're only on lap 30 of 36, and we've got battles up and down the grid. One currently going on is between Mallard and Feta Cheese over the final position in the top 10, as Ritzy sends it down the inside, appeared out of nowhere there on the screen, and makes that move stick, gets his Alpine up into P11 on the soft tyres. And it's another dive bomb move there by the Alpine of Ritzy to make an overtake stick. Elsewhere, we're going to hop back to the front of the grid now. And Cloud all over the rear end of Beadle at the moment, but I don't think he's wanting to make the overtake just yet. He's trying to stay out of the slipstream, and he's braking early. So we're definitely seeing some tactical play here from the lead AlphaTauri. And you can see it here, he's going to go for the move now, down into turn 4. He's been forced to the outside, gets the turn in, gets the move done, and back up into 2nd place on his 11 lap old mediums. It is worth noting actually that Cloud has only been here for 3 races this season. He hasn't been one of the most regular drivers. He is a reserve tonight for the AlphaTauri team in place of Top Gun, but in those 3 races that Cloud has featured in, he has won at Belgium and comes 2nd at Japan and Miami, so we know just how quick Cloud is. Unfortunately, he's not going to be battling for the lead anytime soon. He's 7.5 seconds behind Cookie by this stage, but it's going to be another runners-up spot for Cloud, and his ever-impressive form in this tier continues for this season. It is actually worth noting, those 2 times that he got second places at Japan and Miami, the winner of that race was also Boss Cookie. So it seems a very common combination between those two, as we see B-Dunk send it down the inside, little front right lock up there into turn 4, but gets the move done and back up into second place. Further behind, these two are battling yet again. Ollie gets himself past his teammate JG, back into 4th place, and the Mercedes battle that's been raging on for this race continues once more. I'll just briefly clear my throat there. Now, will JG look to make the move once more on his teammate as they rise up the hill into turn 3? It's about a 60-metre elevation change around this circuit from its lowest point to its highest point here at turn 3. And climbing up the hill there, JG opting to stay behind his teammate. Will he look to make the move now on the way down into turn 4? He won't. He'll stay behind for the time being. We'll keep our eyes on this battle to see if anything happens going forward. But elsewhere, Ritzy is making a move down the outside of Craig Conley, and he's going to make it stick. So he's found some fantastic grip on those soft tyres, immediately cuts across the McLaren to keep the position, but Craig has the DRS wide open. There he goes down the inside, but Ritzy brakes later. He's going to try and hold it. There's contact, and Vetter's spun Craig Conley. There was a bit of contact between Craig and Ritzy, and then a secondary bit of contact between the Williams and the McLaren, and Craig spins around. It's not the first time we've seen a spin this race, and unfortunately it's been a common thing between these guys from about P9 and down, but Ritzy gets himself away from this group, and he's going to try and chase down Michael Louis in 8th place. He's got 3.5 seconds to catch up in the remaining 3 laps if he's able to do so. But meanwhile, Michael Louis is all over the back of the Red Bull of Halo. He has the better tyre compound, but on 16 lap old mediums versus 16 lap old hards, you'd have to say Halo probably has the tyre advantage, but that's not going to stop the Aston Martin DRS Open. He makes the move as they head up into turn 3, and he gets it done. Michael Louis continuing this really strong performance here for the lone Aston Martin, and he's up into 7th place. Let's check back in on our Mercedes drivers here as we look through the halo of JG. What a camera angle that is as they rise the little crest that goes into turn 9, following one another through the final corner. The Mercedes here, neck and tail. Ollie leading the way by 0.3 of a second from his teammate as we enter the penultimate lap of this race. This is our closest battle on track, as well as the battle between Cloud and B-Dunk, which we'll just look at as they come through turn 3. I don't think we're going to see a move just yet. I think Cloud is biding his time and waiting for that final lap, as is JG staying behind his teammate for the time being. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing some really good tactical play here from the Mercedes. As he goes to make the move, he's just waiting until that final DRS straight. Again, double lock up there on the front right, locked it up twice, making that move stick, but he's up into P4, and JG leading the way from his teammate. But has he made that move too early? We saw Cloud staying behind B-Dunk. It'll mean he'll have DRS on the final lap of this race, which we're now going to start, and has the tactical play from Cloud. Is it going to come to fruition here on the final lap? You can see that red light is flashing on the back of the Alpine. That means he is low on power. Compare that to the steering wheel of Cloud. He has a lot of battery available to him. B-Dunk has penalties. He doesn't need to make this move stick, but he's going to go for it anyway. Around the outside as they head up the hill into turn 3, B-Dunk is still there. He forces him to have to try the cutback, but it's not quite going to work, and Cloud's going to have to try again going down this straight. But B-Dunk also has DRS off the AlphaTauri of Budweiser, the back marker and it's allowed Cloud to get through and get himself up into second place. It was a move that was going to happen anyway because of B-Dunk's penalties, but Cloud has made sure of it on track. Now for the Mercedes. I thought for a second then, I was listening in, I thought that JG was struggling for revs there. I wondered if he'd run out of fuel or something. As we see, Cookie has crossed the line for win number 11 of the season. 11 out of 17 one. We said we wouldn't see him until the end of the race, and that has come true. Across the line comes Cloud to take another P2 in his 4th race this season. It's his 3rd runners-up finish, with B-Dunk finishing half a second behind, which gets bumped to 6.5 after penalties. Coming out of the final corner, the Mercedes going side by side along the line, a 10th of a second separating the two of them, with Ollie grabbing P4, JG in P5, Ultra Titan there in P6, a strong showing from the Alfa Romeo there, who is currently 4th in the title, the driver's standings. Next up to line will be Michael Louis, a very strong result there by the Aston Martin. He claims P7, Halo P8, Ritzy P9, Fetacheese P10. Mallard will cross the line in P11 with Craig Conley in P12, who gets bumped all the way up into 10th place there because of not having any penalties. Brilliant stuff by the McLaren. And we saw Arrow stylishly spinning his way over the line, or drifting his way over the line for P13. Driver of the day, unsurprisingly, it's Cookie. Who else could it be? From back to front by the Red Bull, an expert drive there. And he claims yet another win in this season, which he's already wrapped up the title for the drivers. And now he gets another win to add to the one he picked up last time out in Las Vegas. And confirmation of your results there, or at least your provisional results there. Cookie with the win, Cloud P2, and B-Dunk completing an All-American podium for the Alpine. Then come the two Mercedes of Ollie and JG in 4th and 5th, with Ultra Titan 6th, Michael Louis 7th, and Halo in the second Red Bull in P8. Ritzy and Craig Conley round out the top 10, with Fetacheese 11th, Mallard 12th, Ferrari having a disappointing day there with 12th and 13th for Arrow. Budbo in 14th, though he wasn't around for the final laps of that race due to connection issues. And then we have our 5 retirements today: Codzilla, Snowy, Dubsy, Nutomatic, and Luxury. We'll go ahead and get a few of these guys into the party. We'll get Cloud in, hopefully. We'll chat to him. We'll chat to the two Mercedes lads, probably. And we'll get Titan in here as well. Unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to Cookie with him not being on Xbox anymore. But, I mean, just look at that. Cookie P19 to P1, Cloud P18 to P2. It's a day for the guys on the back of the grid. Hello, people joining the pie. Make sure to tick your audio box thing.
Yep.
There we go. We have more and more people joining.
There is a crucial
There's
a crucial piece of information I think multiple drivers have ignored. There's a rule about the pit entry line.
Ooh. Because you might as well, because we can't speak to Cookie, sadly.
Ultra Titan.
It's in the rules.
Make sure everyone that you've ticked the box if you haven't already as well.
Yep, all done.
There we go. Cloud, are you there, by the way?
Yeah, I am.
Well, we'll start off with you, because unfortunately we can't get Cookie in here with him not being on Xbox anymore. But for yourself, P2 from P18 on the grid, I mean, just talk us through that race. That was ridiculous.
I mean, it wasn't
in my opinion, too hard. I mean, all I had to do was just avoid any incidents and just I just kept pushing, and luckily the top three were battling extremely hard for like 5 laps straight, even with the DRS. So I managed to gain like half a second per lap on the top three when leading a train. So I mean, it wasn't too hard, except I know I made the worst mistake when I like didn't push to pass anyone because I was just saving ERS until I was gonna save any ERS until Cookie caught up, and then I was gonna pass everyone. But when I saw how fast Cookie was, I was like, there's no point. I might as well just let him pass and then try to follow him. I couldn't follow him because there were way too many people using ERS. So I mean, I just got unlucky with that. But besides that, pretty good race. Nothing much besides that.
Yeah, Cookie's pace today was just ridiculous, as it has been multiple times this season. But don't discredit yourself. P18 to P2 is still a ridiculously good drive, and congratulations on that. Next up, we'll go to Ollie. You were P4, weren't you? So we'll chat to you. Just if we saw yourself and well, we'll speak to both of you at the same time actually, because we saw both of you battling back and forth for the past about 10 laps of the race. So just talk us through your little battle. Was it a bit nerve-wracking in the cockpit though?
Uh, who wants to go first?
Go on, Ollie, you go.
Yeah, it was a good, yeah, a good fun little battle. Yeah, I mean, I only really engaged in a battle because I knew that we weren't gonna come under fire from Tyson behind. I just thought, well, we hadn't a good enough gap. Why don't we just have a little battle? You know, because I know Jason's a very clean driver, so I thought I'd be perfectly safe battling him, and I was. Yeah, but other than that, it was a good fun race. Quite chaotic, mind you. There's a lot of incidents that I wouldn't say involved in, but I witnessed. Um, and yeah, I mean that was all right. Yeah, P4 was pretty good. And yeah, that was a pretty cool little finish between me and Jason there. It was like
Yeah,
formation across the line. That was pretty dope.
we caught the end of that on the stream of you two try go as close as you could to each other across the line. And I think we saw Titan come round the corner just sort of rubbing his hands together just in case he mistimed it slightly.
Well, we were hoping
But
that didn't happen, but it didn't, so we're okay.
yeah, you did well there, and a big haul of points as well for the constructors battle. I'm not sure if you've gained on Red Bull. I'd say you probably haven't with Cookie winning, but you've definitely minimalised the loss on that one. Titan, we got you in here as well because we might as well have you in here. It's always fun having you in the party. You had a bit of a weird race, it seemed. The first half was super busy for you.
Yeah.
And the final half was just super quiet.
Yeah, it's doing an overcut was not the strategy when the DRS is so strong. So yeah, that's the only thing that killed me. I just stayed out on the hard tyres for too long. I should have pitted around like 16, 17 for mediums. That would have made my chances much better because the what is it? As soon as I don't have DRS, even though I was on softs and JG and Ollie were on mediums and battling at points, they were keeping the gap consistent because I just could not catch them enough with the DRS. At some corners I was gaining 3/10, then they were gaining 4 on the DRS and vice versa. It was just unlucky. But there will be some investigation about the pit entry lines because there is a rule about that, and I did see a couple people ignoring them.
I think the stewards might be quite busy tonight because we saw a few spins further back involving the Ferraris, Rizzi. There was a big battle going on from about 9th down where there were about 3 or 4 spins. There was pit entry lines, there was everything going on in that race. So I think it might be a busy night for the stewards, but that, I think, will round us off. That's everyone in the party we've spoken to at least. I don't think anyone else joined that I didn't see. No, they didn't. So we will be back next week for the penultimate round of Tier 1, which will be at Brazil. in the end. So 3rd of December at 9:30 p.m. on the Sunday. Join us for Brazil at the Interlagos circuit. And before that, on Saturday night, it will be Tier 2 at 9 p.m. at... What circuit are they at? Are they also at Brazil?
They
They are also at Brazil.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
be
we've
at
got-
Brazil and Abu
we've
Dhabi,
got-
so yeah.
Yeah, we've got double Brazil next weekend and then double Abu Dhabi to round out the first season of We Have Fun the week after. So make sure to join us for that one. But for now, we are going to be signing off here from Austria. Another win for Cookie, and he continues his dominance this season. Goodbye.
Peace.